The call came at 3:37 p.m. on a humid Tuesday, right in the middle of Diego Mendez's shift. The unknown number made his heart leap before he even answered. On the other end, a firm, professional voice identified himself as Sergeant Miller from the Human Resources Division of the SWAT Special Operations Division. The SOD Diego Mendez? You applied to our selection process, correct? A last-minute slot has opened up on our wait list. Can you report for a preliminary evaluation tomorrow at 8 a.m.? Diego had to lean against a wall to keep his legs from buckling. 2 years of intense preparation, dozens of rejected applications, and finally the opportunity was knocking. His hand was shaking so hard he nearly dropped his phone. "Yes, sir. I'll be there promptly," he managed. Trying to keep the emotion from his voice, he spent the rest of the day in a blur, his mind completely focused on the next morning. He was an ordinary security guard at the upscale Galleria Mall, a place he saw not as his career, but as a temporary stage for his grander dream. He had sacrificed everything for this. He'd woken up at 4:30 a.m. every day for 2 years to run 6 miles before his shift. He quit drinking, cut off negative friendships, and turned his small apartment into a war room of his aspirations. The walls were covered in tactical maps of the city, printouts of federal law, and photos of SOD operations he clipped from magazines. He knew the SOD hierarchy like his life depended on it. He'd memorized every rank, every protocol. The men and women of SOD were his heroes, urban gods of modern law enforcement. What Diego didn't know was that in a few hours, all his preparation would be tested in a way he never imagined, and that his own prejudice would become the biggest obstacle between him and his lifelong dream. That night, Diego didn't sleep a wink. He spent hours reviewing his knowledge, ensuring his uniform was spotless and his shoes shined to a mirror polish. He organized all the necessary documents into a neat black folder, checking 3 times to make sure everything was in order. At 4 a.m., he was up, doing his morning run. Every step he took, he visualized his future as an SOD officer. He arrived at the Galleria at 7:45 a.m., 15 minutes early. Today was his last shift as a security guard, his silent farewell to a life that would soon be behind him. He smiled to himself as he clocked in, thinking that by next week, he'd be wearing a different uniform entirely. His shift passed slowly. Diego found himself observing everything with a new professional eye. The security cameras, the blind spots, the emergency exit routes. Mentally, he was transforming the shopping center into a tactical operation. In a few months, he thought, he could be coordinating security here in a real-life operation. The confidence he felt about his future was morphing into a dangerous arrogance, a sense of superiority that would soon manifest in the worst possible way. At 11:45 a.m., an elegant black woman named Captain Alana Jackson entered the main entrance of the Galleria. She was dressed in simple, well-kept clothes and walked with a firm, confident posture. Alana was the commanding officer of the very SOD division Diego was hoping to join. This was her first day off in 10 days after an intense week of operations. Her simple mission: buy a doll for her 7-year-old niece's birthday. From his post in the security control room, Diego observed the movement in a large department store through the monitors. His self-taught training in detecting suspicious behavior had created a dangerous paranoia. He had read dozens of security manuals and absorbed distorted concepts about criminal profiles. "Marcus, are you seeing that woman in the store?" Diego called to his colleague. "She's been in there for 15 minutes, moving things around, but she hasn't bought anything yet." Marcus glanced at the screen and shrugged. "Dude, it's a department store. People browse. What's the problem?" But Diego had already made up his mind. In his head, her behavior fit the suspicious patterns he had studied. Alana was simply being meticulous, trying to find a doll that looked like her niece, a black doll with curly hair and an astronaut uniform. It was the careful behavior of a dedicated aunt, but Diego interpreted her every move as suspicious. "Look, Marcus." She picked up 3 different dolls, took them to an aisle, and put them all back. That's not normal shopper behavior. She's scoping out the store. Alana finally found the perfect doll and headed to the checkout. "She's making her move now," Diego said to Marcus, already on his feet, adjusting his utility belt. I bet she's going to try to walk out without paying or use a stolen card. Keep an eye on the other exits. Marcus shook his head, annoyed by his colleague's obsession. Diego, you're crazy. The woman is making a normal purchase. Relax. But Diego was no longer listening. In his mind, he was about to make his first big bust, a perfect warm-up before his SOD evaluation. He was completely blind to the devastating consequences his next actions would have on his own life. When it was Alana's turn at the register, she put the doll on the counter and greeted the clerk politely. Diego appeared beside her, his voice firm and authoritative. "Excuse me, ma'am. Mall security. I need to verify your documents." Alana looked at him with genuine surprise. "Verify my documents for what? I'm making a normal purchase." Her voice was calm, but held a firmness that any military professional would immediately recognize. Diego, blinded by his own prejudices, interpreted her composure as suspicious resistance. "Ma'am, I've been observing your behavior for the past 20 minutes. You were handling merchandise, mapping out the store, and now you want to pay with a card." He raised his voice intentionally, making sure everyone around could hear. "This is typical shoplifting behavior. I'm going to need to see your documents and verify this card is yours." The silence was deafening. Other people stopped to watch. Alana felt the weight of all the eyes on her, the humiliation of being treated like a criminal in public. "Young man, I haven't committed any crime," she said, maintaining the composure that years of military leadership had developed. "I'm buying a gift for my niece. There's nothing illegal about that." Diego intercepted her as she reached for her card. "No, ma'am. Documents first. I need to confirm your identity before any payment. And I'll need to search your bag as well. It's security policy." A young man pulled out his phone, clearly recording the scene. Alana realized she was becoming a public spectacle, her dignity under attack by a security guard who thought he was a police officer. Alana could have ended the charade immediately by revealing her identity, but curiosity drove her to see how far Diego's arrogance would go. "Very well," she said calmly, opening her purse. She handed him her ID. Diego smirked as if he were a detective. "Alana Jackson, age 35. Profession not listed." Interesting. Like many officers, Alana kept her profession private for security. But Diego saw it as proof of criminality. He then snatched her credit card. "Apex Bank Platinum. Strange for someone without a job, don't you think?" Alana stayed firm. "The card is in my name. Nothing illegal about that." "Ma'am, you'll need to come with me to the security office," Diego declared. "Your bag must be searched. Standard procedure." At that moment, Alana's phone rang. She answered, her voice suddenly commanding. "Sergeant Miller, good afternoon." "Yes, I'm aware of tomorrow's candidate, Diego Mendez." "Correct." Diego froze. His name, his evaluation, his dream. "Send me his file," Alana continued. "I need to review it before the selection." Diego's confidence collapsed. Then came the dagger. "Commander Johnson?" "Yes. Regarding tomorrow's process, one candidate displayed concerning behavior, explicit racial bias, and abuse of authority. I recommend canceling his evaluation." Diego's body went cold. 2 years of training and sacrifice dissolved in seconds. Alana fixed her eyes on him. "You're Diego Mendez, the candidate, correct?" "Mute," he nodded. "Commander, the candidate is here," she said into the phone. "He accused me of being a criminal, attempted to detain me, and even called police because I was buying a doll for my niece. I confirm. Cancel his evaluation. He is incompatible with our values." "Please," Diego begged, voice trembling. "I didn't know who you were. It was a misunderstanding." Alana's voice was sharp. "A misunderstanding? You assumed I was a criminal because I'm black. That wasn't a mistake. It was prejudice." She turned to the mall manager, who had just arrived. "Captain Alana Jackson, commanding officer, SOD. Your mall security protocols need serious review. Discrimination like this cannot stand." Diego dropped to his knees in the middle of the store, tears falling. His colleague tried to help him up, but he felt crushed. That morning, he had woken with hope and ambition. Now, he was broken. Alana paid for the doll and left with dignity, never looking back at, "I in 20 minutes, Diego had destroyed not only his dreams, but also his own character. Prejudice, he learned too late, does not only wound its target, it devours the one who practices it. 2 years of preparation had meant nothing, because he had failed the most important test, to be human.